percentage of businesses in Africa are exposed to very large risk that may affect your activities and may lead to the failure of the business. Others fail because of poor management or poor leadership that may arise in the course of the business. So you listening to this video, you surely have business and you want to know what are the risks that you are exposed to in doing your business. Today, we are going to talk about insurance in the life of an entrepreneur and what characterizes good leadership. Welcome on Career Show. My name is Carl Kenye. If you are new on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell in order not to miss any session. Today, we are going to welcome Madam Nura Masood, who is the General Manager of SANLAM Life Insurance Tanzania. Hello, Madam, and welcome on Career Show.
Thank you very much, Carl.
Okay, Madam. So, Madam, if you mind to present yourself in your own way, or if I may ask, who is Madam Nura Masood?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Carl. So, first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank God for giving us the blessings of being fine today, to meet you, Carl, and myself. My name is Nura Masood. I'm blessed with two girls, and I work for SANLAM. I'm the General Manager of SANLAM Life Insurance. I have held this General Manager's position since 2011. SANLAM Life is a life insurance company offering life products in Tanzania. We've been leading this market by 60 to 70% share of the market for some times now. I have a team of 10 people working under me, both on the underwriting and claims. So I look after both underwriting as well as claims. And that's it.
Okay, Madam. So, Madam, you have been working for insurance for many years. And it makes me ask you, like, what motivated you to go for that sector?
All right, thank you. So, what motivated me is that I started working in this industry, in the life insurance sector, in 1999. When I started working in the insurance sector in 1999, I didn't know much about insurance. I was new to insurance. It's not like I studied. It was not a career. In my life, I believe that I want to be someone, but I didn't know exactly in which area. So in 1999, when I joined the life insurance, I was new to life, not life actually, insurance as such. So when I started working there, I thought after working about a year, I started thinking of starting to sit for the exams. That was on the general side. So in 1999, 2000, I started doing exams. I sat for these exams because we had some two expatriates from South Africa who guided us that we can register in South Africa. So we did register in the Insurance Institute of South Africa. So I did my COP and then the intermediate, and then I went on. Then in year 2002, I was pregnant, so I had to leave work for 1 year. I stayed home for 1 year when I had my second child, and then I went back. When I went back, I was moved into the life department. So the life department, I worked and I continued with the exams. But this time I registered in the Chartered Insurance Institute in South Africa, in UK. So I started doing the UK exams. And in 2003, I started life, but 2006, I started doing the life exams. Before doing the life exams, I was searching for someone to support me in the industry. So here is the catch. I started looking for someone to see who can guide me on how to sit for the life, and who maybe I can look for maybe to support me, to explain to me how life works. And then I found out there was no one who was doing these exams. So I challenged myself and I said, so this is the area I will go and look. I know there is no one here in Tanzania who has done this exam, but I will actually do this exam. So I started doing these exams in 2007. I failed many times. many times. Those who were doing the general, they were all passing, they were getting their ACI. Many people passed and got their ACI, but I was failing until 2011. That's when I got my underwriting diploma. That's when I completed my exams in underwriting. And then I continue with the claims. So first of all, I challenged myself to sit for the exams that there's no one here in Tanzania doing. But I also challenged myself because I know people would usually know either underwriting or claims. So I have done both, claims and underwriting for medical. So I passed the claims in 2018, actually. So it has been a very long journey for me, and I failed many times. I'm a perfect example for failures, I must admit. And also, just to add on this, for our companies here in the life department, especially for group schemes, there is no one having a software. I think you know that management, the systems for us to put information and process claims and underwriting and everything else. But here in Tanzania, most of the companies who are doing group life schemes, they do not have the system. So what all I'm doing is formulating the report, the processes in order to be able to report. Now you can imagine when you have such a big operation without having a system, which we're implementing obviously now. But for all this period until now, I'm running this department myself on Excel sheets.
Wow, exactly, madam. You left from on the underwriting job to general manager of SANLAM Life Insurance Tanzania. And it makes me want to ask you this question because I can imagine that the experience was characterized by hard work, leadership, and teamwork spirit. Yeah, so madam, what did you learn from this journey?
Yes, so what I learned in this journey is, first of all, if you're patient in doing what you want to do, you persevere. You need to have a goal, and that goal needs to go with your passion. If you're patient, this long time that other people find it very long, I didn't find it long because of the passion that I had. That I must pass these exams and I must work hard. I had to work hard because I am a mother. So I work. I have to have a discipline. I didn't have social life. No social life for me. I was working hard. I had family to look after. I had work to look after. I had a husband to look after, and my children, and my mother, and everyone. So my responsibility was still there, and I still had to do the work. But more than that, you need support. You need the support system. So by support system, I mean your family. For me, my mother was my pillar. She wanted me to do all these exams. She was helping me all this time alone. So if I have my exams, my mother, and when my mother passed away, my husband and my mother-in-law, they all supported me. They stepped ahead and took all those responsibility of the house, and I had to sit and do the exams.
Wow, amazing, madam. But do you think that the insurance sector in Africa is sufficiently profitable and accessible for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so the penetration is very low. Still, it's very low now. But for Tanzania, or maybe even for African countries, this is about to change, especially now that we have bank assurance and we know that banks are all over Tanzania. They're all over, they have branches everywhere. So in terms of accessibility, following the recent regulatory approval of banks to start selling, and since banks are there, I'm sure the penetration will slightly change. But having said that, in terms of life, we also need to see there are some regulations that support life in terms of savings. So in other countries, they have tax relief for life insurance. So these all will contribute towards the market to grow. And another thing is the products. Here, many insurance companies, they have ready-made products for people to come and purchase. The products are there. But now we need to go and actually look at what exactly African countries or us African we want to buy. We can't just sit in our offices and make products for people. We need to go outside, ask what they actually want, and then make a product that is suitable for us Africans. Where our risk is. So we need to look at ourselves and make those products based on our requirement.
Okay. But Madam, how can insurance support young entrepreneurs? For example, we know that the bank help entrepreneurs maybe by facilitating access to credit. Now, concerning the insurance sector, like what is your way of doing things?
Oh, okay. So I don't know about other countries, but myself here in Tanzania, I have thousands of SMEs and MSME, which are very small, very small companies, and they access them through the bank. So when they go to the bank to take the loan, so we do have schemes for the banks where all these loans are being disbursed to the small and medium enterprises. So when they go there, they get the loan, and their loan is automatically covered. So they are covered for their loans. Obviously, the loan is covered for the risk of probably death and permanent disability and so forth. But obviously, it won't be covered for default. So they do have access. But in addition to that, the banks who have now been allowed to sell the insurance, we also have products for SME. We have made products specifically for SMEs, and they can be accessed through all the banks who are selling our products, and even through our agents, and even direct. So the market is open. They can come and then they can access it.
Okay, but you have been talking about life insurance, and I want to ask you, what is it all about?
Okay, so maybe for life insurance, our life insurance companies, they cover the risk whereby if a person passes away. So this risk can be either your savings, a protection. So in case of death, your family will get the benefit. But also you can cover it in case someone takes a loan from the bank, like what you've asked me just now. If a person has taken a loan, we can still cover that loan in case of death or disability, whether it's permanent or temporary, or critical illness, also the funeral expenses. And we have gone further in including the spouses and their parents in some of the covers. So that's another one. Also, we have products which we have investment as well as protection. So we have the protection for the beneficiary in case of death, but we also have a component of investment embedded in the same cover. So they can purchase that. Okay, so we also have an education policy where if you have a child and the minimum is 7 years up to 15 years. So if you have a child, you can save for that child's education. There is just a minimum, but there is no maximum. And SANLAM is a company, we cover in case of death, in case of permanent disability, we do the contributions for you up to the maturity. So these schemes that we have, also our competitors are offering the same. So we do have for employees, we do have employees schemes. So it's not about us only, even our competitors are offering the same products. Yeah.
Wow. But I'm talking about the entrepreneurs. You mentioned something that is very important that I wish to repeat in a simple English so that those that are listening to us can understand. So you were talking about the life insurance, and you said that you cover entrepreneurs even if they pass away. For example, if you're an entrepreneur and maybe you take a loan at the bank and maybe you have something, maybe you die, the insurance company will help you to cover the loan.
Yes.
Wow, amazing. So you are listening to us, you surely have that information, and it shows you again the importance of insurance in the life of an entrepreneur. So, Madam, as a general manager, we are sure that you surely face many difficulties. But can you share with us your worst experience or your worst day as a manager?
All right. So my worst experience. All right, this is interesting. Yeah. Very good question. My worst experience was when I visited my client. My client was a mining company. So I had to travel to that site. So I had to take a flight from here to Mwanza, and then from Mwanza get a smaller flight, charter flight to the mining. I went there just to assess, with the claims that I usually have. So when we reached there, the supervisor said, we will now be going to visit the mine, actual mine. So we were like going underground. And I had to first be trained how to get your oxygen, get your uniform, and then sign that you accept if anything happens is fine. I think that was my worst moment. When we started descending down, it was so dark. And so we were in two cars. We were in two groups. And we drive down about a kilometer or so. It was very dark. I went there and assessed the situation, and I was really scared. I don't know what happened to me, but I was just very nervous and just praying that I just come out of that trip alive. When we came back, I managed to assess the claims and I could understand what was our clients are going through, and I could understand where the claims position is, and lots of things I learned through. It was a worst scenario for me, but when I came back, there was a lot that I learned from that trip. Until today, I remember that trip was quite amazing and scary and everything else you want to know.
But madam, what did you learn from that experience?
Okay, first of all, I managed to see, the scheme, the staff scheme. So I managed to see what exactly is happening, what kind of work, what kind of the condition are they in. So I managed to be able to do all the assessment based on what I have seen myself. And in that trip, I managed to get our lead reinsurer as well. So we were both able to see the condition of the people. We managed to meet them. We managed to talk to them. We managed to see everything. So it gave us a lot of insight on how the operations in the mines are working. Yeah, so that way I was very happy to be able to support the employees in the mining.
Wow. We are going to take a short break and we are coming back in a minute. Welcome back on Career Show. If you're new on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell in order not to miss any session. You can use the subtitle option in order to listen to the show in other languages. We are still with Madam Nura Masood, who is the General Manager of SANLAM Life Insurance Tanzania. So, Madam, if you were asked to advise a head of state on how to stimulate the entrepreneurship among young Africans, what will you tell them?
All right. To the African states.
Yeah, African head of state.
Okay. So now regarding entrepreneurship, first of all, it should start at grassroots. It should start from schools. You see, in old days, the schools used to teach a lot of skills that now I don't think there are schools that teach those skills. So those skills in schools are important for a person when they finish school to be able to be self-employed. In order for us to be self-employed, the entrepreneurship should be a subject in school, and it should start from grassroots. So skills such as maybe art, music, poetry, carpentry, stitching, cooking. There are lots of skills that a person can learn, but also financial skills and financial education, how to save your money, where to save, what to do. So these are the things that from grassroots should be taken up. That's number one. Secondly, African countries need to look at what exactly is driving us as a continent, as a country. So it should embrace issues like agriculture. People don't have to do agriculture when they're now finished and having money. Since they're young, they are taught these agricultural issues from the school until they grow up, until they finish their schools, until they want to do the agriculture. Agriculture can be a subject that they start from the beginning, and people have patience for agriculture. I'm happy that you asked me that question. So here in African countries, agriculture, the benefit is that the agriculture that we have, the land that we have is relevant and also is giving us food that is natural. That's number one. But we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough. Our agriculture is still backward. We're not using the modern technology for agriculture. So it's very important for government to lay the infrastructure. So if we want to move forward, we need an infrastructure. For instance, we need to have roads to where the farms are. So we need to transport our agriculture products to the town to sell them. We need to look for the market for that, for the products that we produce. But we also need to add value to the products that we want to sell. So African leaders need to look at our resources, our raw materials, and how we can improve those raw materials to support the continent, to support the young generation. But this needs to be from the grassroots level. It's not only now that when you finish school or now I want to do agriculture. I think if we were taught from school, obviously when I was in school, I was taught, so I'm talking about the young generation now, the young entrepreneurs, okay? So those are the things that we need to start at grassroots. And then as we go forward, the framework, the infrastructure now supports the young generation to do that. The infrastructure means that the electricity, the road and water, that's number one. But the second one, also African countries, we have herbs. We're not doing enough research to use those herbs as a medicine. I'm sure our grandfathers and our four grandfathers all use all these herbs to treat themselves. Why we're not doing enough on that? So both there's agriculture for food, but also for medicines. All these things need to be brought in together. And number three, African continent don't need borders. Borders, we created borders. We should not have borders. We should be supporting each other. Okay, God didn't create borders. We human beings, we brought borders here. We need to work together as a continent, not as a country, but bring up all the agriculture, the herbs, the resources that we have together. We need to improve our skills as a continent, not as one person only. If we do this as a unity, all of us, we can succeed. And also bringing up, I'm talking about the old, the experienced people. All these things needs to come together. The framework needs to have all the people who know about agriculture, who can guide the young generation, who can support the young generation morally, physically, families, everyone. So if we work as a community, we can perform better. In terms of agriculture, there are many things people don't know about. Maybe there are many people are interested in investing in the agriculture, but they don't have enough information. Also, we need to know that we can have our own fertilizers, the organic fertilizers. Why we're not looking for that knowledge of organic fertilizer? We can make our own fertilizers. We don't need to import fertilizer. We can use other plants as fertilizer for the other plants. So if we do a lot of research in that area, it needs a lot of work there. So we need to first set goals, and we should all, as African continent, say that this is where we want to go together. And then we do a research, we create a lot of skills for our young generation, and we support each other. We should not have Cameroon and Tanzania. We should be all one thing.
Exactly, madam. You have been talking about support, you have been talking about finance, but motivation amongst young Africans are generally lost due to lack of funding or difficulties for them to have the necessary fund for their project. I mean, but what can you tell them, or what can you advise to them?
Okay, so here I'm talking about Tanzania. Okay, I'm talking about Tanzania now because I work with many banks, and I know that banks, they do provide loans for entrepreneurs a lot because I'm insuring them myself. So when you go with the business plan, they do a lot of appraisals, and then they review the plan, and then they approve it. So there are quite a number of people. Obviously, I wouldn't know in other countries how it works, but here I am speaking about where I am. So I do know that, for instance, many of these SMEs are insured with me, but also insured with my competitor. If you provide sufficient data to the bank and you have all your identification, they do support you.
Yeah, madam. But now that you're talking about loan, but the question that comes generally is at level of the loan with entrepreneurs, like they usually ask for guarantee or collateral security. But how can how can a young entrepreneur have in Nigeria, but with no guarantee, can have the loan or can have the support for him to build maybe the prototype of his product, or maybe to make his business go to another level without having collateral security or guarantee? Or what support what can you recommend to young Africans listening to us who have maybe project ideas but are asking themselves where are they going to find the necessary capital?
Okay, thank you. I don't really have an answer for that, but what I know, obviously I'm speaking again from where I am, is that over here, if you are taking agriculture loan, so I'm just giving an example again on the agriculture loan. So the loan here is I don't think I think it depends on the amount on the project size. So the size of the project determines the guarantee. If the project is a startup and it is small, and it is I don't think they have the guarantee here, but because it's quite small. But also at times, the person who has this project already knows where they're selling. So the person who's expecting to buy the products takes the guarantee for the agriculture, so it's called contract farming. I don't know if you know contract farming. So the person who is discussing with this project manager already knows that once the produce are ready, I will be purchasing all the products from this person. So they support the guy in getting a guarantee from the bank.
Okay, I see now.
But obviously, I'm sure there are some other funding as well that doesn't require guarantee. Although I'm not very familiar with that part, but I have a feeling that there would be other places where you can get without a guarantee. But obviously, probably you will have to show that once you produce your product, you already have the market ready for you, so that they know your loan will be repaid.
Okay, sure, madam. Well, madam, you undoubtedly embody a real female leadership, which is still developing timidly on the African continent due to certain cultural and socio-anthropological blockage. So, what advice can you give to young African women in order to deconstruct that way of thinking and develop in them the leadership spirit?
So, my answer to that is. First of all, this is not very much visible in the new generation, because the new generation are coping up and they're together with, men and women are all together. It is more visible in the old generation, like myself, one of them. So women, first of all, in terms of leadership, everyone is a leader. That's what I believe. We could be a leader of our community. It could be that we are a leader of our houses. We could be leader of our children, example for our kids. We have all these presidents who are coming from women, by the way. So their leader actually was a woman at home who made sure that they become president, they become prime ministers. So they were led by a woman. So a woman being a leader is not necessarily holding a position. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It's not necessarily holding a position. That's number one. Number two, in many cases, you'd find they are voiceless, or maybe they're not visible. It's not like they're not leading. They're leading, but no one knows about them. They are leading behind and no one is talking about them. So maybe I will give you an example. I'm the only Tanzanian with the qualification for medical underwriting and medical claims, but no one knows about me. No one talks about me. If IFC did not write a report about me, no one would have known. And probably even now, only you know. No one has read the report.
Wow.
So there is visibility. Women are voiceless. It's not like they're not leading. There are many women who are leading, but no one is talking about them. No one knows about them. Right now, you know about me. You are the only person who knows about me because you have asked me and I'm telling you. But no one else. I'm working in this industry since 1999 until today.
Wow.
So you see, sometimes women are there, but they don't get opportunity to be known by other people. It was just by luck that you came to know about me. Not everyone would have that luck to know there is one lady here in Tanzania who's leading, who is a general manager. No one would know unless this information comes and you just happen to know. So the women, they have been leaders, by the way, in let's say the oldest university in the world. In the oldest university is called Al-Qarawin. The woman who started that is called Fatima Al-Fihri. It was a woman, and that was in year 841. The oldest university was by woman. Also in India in 1837, the ruler was a woman. And when she died, her daughter was a ruler. And when the daughter died, the granddaughter was a woman. It was a ruler. So women were there from before. They were just not being talked about. So women did hold several positions, have done better. But the only thing is that no one talks about them. It's like they're not visible. So the issue is that women leaders are there and the capability is there. It's just that they are not visible. That's the only difference. It's not like women are not. They may have confidence, some of them, or maybe there is no. They're not confident. They're not known, but it doesn't mean they're not leaders. The leaders are there. It just needs to come out. People need to know. Women need to be visible. They need to have voices as well in the communities. So I personally think that women do have position. They do take leadership. It's just that we are not aware of them. I'm sure. I'm giving you an example of me. So how many Nura are there? Okay. I'm quite a number of them.
Wow, I see, madam.
But as a community, we need to support women as well. We need to support them. We need to bring them up. We need to give them confidence. We need to see a lot. And also another thing is that success is not about the position you hold. It's not about I'm the CEO. I'm successful because I'm the general manager. No. For me, I was successful the day I decide I'm successful. So it could be that I was not taken as a general manager. I was not promoted. Wherever I am successful because I have managed to do what makes me feel good about myself. So it's about self-worth as well. Success is about self-worth. If I'm happy with what I've achieved until now, even if I'm not a manager, I'm still a leader because I'm happy. And I could be a leader of my community. I could be a leader of my church. I could be a leader of our school. I could be a leader of anyway. So leadership is all about how you inspire people, how you motivate, how you facilitate them to realize their strength and do better.
Oh, exactly, madam. This is even what we are doing with the career show. Like we equally participate in empowering or in showing out more women that are leaders. Yeah, so that the young people or young women can use them as role model, like as a guide. Because if you're not doing that, many people would think that certain position belongs to the men, whereas women can equally go for that. Yeah, so
I agree with you. I agree.
But now I will now ask you, what advice can you give to young African women that are listening to you?
Okay, so first of all, we need to know that we women, we are not anything less than any other person. We have a position in a society, okay? We physically and maybe our bodies and our capacity, we are different. We don't need to be equal to men. I personally think that I'm superior to men. I'm not equal, or I don't want to be equal to men. I think I'm very special. God created me special, and I'm capable of doing anything that I want. So I need to know my self-worth. First of all, we need to know our self-worth. We need to have goal. We need to prepare ourselves to reach our goal. We need to have a focus. We don't need someone to tell us we are successful or we are not successful. We need to define what is successful ourselves. So for the women for the women leadership. So in terms of leadership, we have lots of other challenges as a woman. So we have challenges of taking care of our families. We have other challenges of having confidence, of having to look up for someone as a role model for us. So all as women, we need to support one another. We need to have a supporting system. We have to network with other people. We look forward to see that there are leaders who are supporting other people. Us as leaders, we need to support the young generation or the people below us to be able to come forward. Because this is something that I personally find it very important. This is the passion that I have. I want to see the people who are reporting to me or they work for me as a woman to be holding better position than me. So as a leader, when I sit and train people, when I sit and explain to them, I want them to learn from me, but to perform better, to study, to advance in their career and do better. So we as women, we need to support the other women as well in terms of networking, in terms of supporting them in leadership position, but also we need to give ourselves confidence, including myself. So we need to have confidence for what we can do and what we can achieve. There is something that we need to understand. All of us, we are learning. Even leaders are learning. All of us are learning. There is no one who can claim that they know everything. We make mistake. We rectify our mistake. We move on. We are not intelligent. We're just a human being. So let's all work together towards making sure that women have also capacity to do what they want to do. We need to give them a chance.
Okay, madam. Before we go on leadership, I have a question that I want to ask you. Madam, as a leader, as a manager, if you were giving $2,000 to start a business, maybe at a young age, maybe you are at my age, you are my age now, and you receive $2,000 to start a business, what sector will you go for, and what will be your 5 next steps?
Okay, so if I was given $2,000, I'm as young as you. Number one, I want to ask myself, what is my passion? So there are two things, as I mentioned that before. There are skills and there is a career. So when I was young, like you, or maybe younger when I was in school, I used to love to do stitching. Even in school, I used to attend classes on stitching. So with 2,000, if I was given 2,000 at that time, what I would have done is, number one, I would have planned myself. I would have planned, this is what I want to do. I want to be a tailor, but I want to now look at how I can innovate tailoring. So with 2,000, I would have first of all go and do the classes, and then use the raw materials that we have in Africa, like kitenge. I don't know if you know what is kitenge.
No,
you do not know? You know kanga? No. Material from Africa.
Wow.
You know the attires? So I would use those material to make purses, handbag, shoes, earring. I would change what is normal. I would try to innovate that because it doesn't require a lot of capital to begin with. and then it's easier to make. So first I will choose my passion. So in my case, I would have selected tailoring. With that money, I would have been able to buy myself a sewing machine and my other material for cutting and stitching. It would have been more than enough for me to start small. But I would also be using my innovations to innovate our raw materials here to make small things and try to sell.
Wow, great, madam. But no, madam, if you were asked now to name, so can you advise younger ones, the sectors of activity, sector to invest or to go for in 20 years, next 20 years?
Okay. So maybe number one is in the digital sector. But when I'm talking about digital, you look at African countries and the problems that we have in terms of reaching out in rural areas. We don't have in certain area there is no electricity. So how can we have digital that doesn't use internet probably? So it's easiest for distribution, which is affordable distribution. So digital is a must for all of us for our development. But using also digital to look at the health. Maybe we can have an app whereby if a person is in the rural area, there are no doctors, but they can use the app to support maybe pregnant women. So digital-wise, but to support the health in terms of our rural areas. That's number one. Number two is agricultural sector. I think agriculture has a lot of potential if it is now, if there is enough framework and there's enough skills towards agriculture. Agriculture is the future of everywhere. I think from my perspective, I'm thinking agriculture is an important sector also to be looking at. But also agriculture in terms of medicine or in terms of supporting the fertilizers in our country. So if we have agriculture and if we can make our own fertilizer, if we can use agriculture, we can use our products to make our own medicine. Those are the sectors that personally I think there is still more to be done there. The opportunities are there. We just need to think how we can integrate the information that is available and make people use that information to develop themselves.
Wow. So apart from those sectors, don't you have another one? What about the insurance sector? What do you think about insurance sector? This is where you are now, madam. What can you say about insurance sector?
Yes. So the insurance sector is very important. It is a social protection as well. Maybe I was just coming to that. Is the social protection. We as African, we do need to have the insurance as well because the penetration is low because we haven't yet figured out how it is going to support us. But if we want to really move, even in terms of the agriculture, we need agriculture insurance. We need insurance for protection of our properties, our assets. All these things, they need insurance. So insurance is also part, and it's actually developing. We are still not there, but we're developing slowly. Where we were in 1999 when I joined the industry is not where we are now. So slowly the uptake is not fast, or maybe the penetration is not big. But yes, that's a very important sector, and also the technology to be able to distribute this to the masses in Africa. What I'm thinking also is Africa has also national park. We have a lot of tourism. We are not yet identifying places that can be tourism. We're not, just like what I say, you didn't know about me either. So we need to identify our country where we have historical sites that needs to be a part of the tourism sector. We are not advertising much about Africa. Africa has a lot to offer to the world. We need to identify, we need to be able to talk about Africa in the world and bring people here and see our culture. Even the culture of African is an important tourism. So we need to be able to advertise ourselves and our culture and our country and what resources we have that people can come and look into it.
Wow, wow, great, madam. Madam, you have been talking about leadership. You have been talking about empowering others. And the question that I want to ask you is, according to you, what are the characteristics of a good leader?
A characteristic of a good leader.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. But I think first of all we need to know who is a leader, because it's important to identify what is leadership. For every person has a different understanding of who is a leader. Personally, what I'm saying is a good leader is the person who can inspire people, who can motivate, who can influence other people behind them, or maybe their family or whoever it is. They can inspire so that those members, they look at themselves, they use their strength to be able to move forward. So we leaders, we should not only thinking that I want to be a leader every day. I actually want to see my staff being leaders better than me. They come and lead me as well. So leadership is not something that is confined. It is something that everyone has the capacity to be a leader. That's what I believe. I believe that everyone in this world is a leader in their own capacity. It's just that we need to identify people who can influence and make sure that those members can perform better.
Wow, wow, wow. So, madam, according to you, now, how can we identify if so everyone has his own level of leadership, but what are the characteristics of a leader? Because there are many people, as you said at the beginning, there are many people that think that have their own definition of leadership. But according to you, how can you identify a leader? How can you see two people and say, no, this is the leader?
Okay, leaders take risks. Number one, they can take a risk. That means that they are able to take a risk and move forward. Because when you want to be a leader, you don't want to be sitting in a fence. You need to make decisions. You need to be able to make a decision as a leader. We always make decisions. It may be right, it may not be right, but you still have to make those decisions. That's number one. Number two is a leader needs to be responsible. So whatever decision we make, we take responsibility for our decisions that we make. We are an example for our staff. So we need to show a good example to our members who are following us. In order for us to be able to inspire them, they need to see something in us different that they can emulate when they want to be leaders as well. And another thing that I think a leader needs to be is to be focused in the areas that they think they can make a difference. If we want to make a difference, we need to focus in that. We also need to be honest to ourselves. We need to have integrity. We need to see that we are human. Where we make mistakes, we need to agree that this is where I made a mistake and this is where I want to be. We need to see that the people who are reporting to us, they do better than us. As leaders, we must make sure that the members or the staff who are reporting to us, we empower them to do better than us. I want to see my staff being CEOs. I want to see my staff being the president one day. Every day morning I tell them, tomorrow when you are a president, they just laugh. I said, don't laugh. You may be a president.
Exactly.
A CEO. So tomorrow when you are CEO, what will you do? When someone comes to ask me a question, I ask them, if you are in my position, what would you do? First, you tell me what you will do, then I will tell you what I would do.
Wow, wow.
Courage.
Okay, madam. So, madam, we are always at the end of the show, and the question I want to ask you now is, what advice can you give to the young and the future entrepreneurs and African leaders listening to us?
Young entrepreneurship in African leaders, both. So I need to give advice to both.
Yeah, to young entrepreneurs and future African leaders. You can be leaders as a general manager, as a president, or yeah.
So young entrepreneurs and leaders, they first of all need to understand we are in Africa. If we are leading African, we need to understand ourselves. We need to understand our culture. We need to understand our country. We need to understand our challenges. when we are leaders, we need to know what we can do and what we cannot do. This is a challenging situation because as leader, when you're making decision, you need to look at a lot of things and make a decision. But secondly, as young leaders in Africa, we need to have no borders. We need to support each other, because if we want to lead, our strength lies in our unity. Our unity is a very important aspect in us going forward. So if we come together as a continent and help the young generation, together we can move forward and we can do a lot than if we do it in each country. So in terms of being leaders, we need to look beyond our borders, beyond our capability, so that we include, it should be an inclusive, it should include everyone. These challenges can only be overcome if we stand together and try to resolve them together.
Wow, wow. And Madam, in 2 sentences, what can you say now to entrepreneurs that are listening to you?
To those who are listening to me now, do not give up. I have been there. I have suffered. I have gone through a lot. So giving up is not an option for all of us, including myself. So the young ones also should not be giving up. They should be focused. They should look at the support system, your families, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your colleagues, whoever is there who can support you by giving you advice. You need to be taking advice and thinking about it. We need to have a history. African has a huge history. We need to use history to see how our ancestors manage and then learn from them in order for us to move forward.
Wow, wow. So, Madam, thank you very much for accepting our invitation on the Career Show.
Most and welcome, Carl. And I want to wish you the best. I want to see you also grow. And I want to hear you do more. I want to hear you also include us in Tanzania in your app.
Okay, Madam. But the question that I would ask you before we go is, what is your impression about the Career Show?
Oh, okay. This is a very important show. I think you're supporting the young generation. They need to hear a lot from us, leaders, and everyone else who can give an advice of which they can. It's not about an advice, but experience. They can see that we also went through a lot. We did not get here so easily. I worked in this area for 22 years nearly now. So things don't go fast. I mean, what I see from the young generation is you want to copy someone. You think that another person has success, but define your own success. You should have your definition of what success means to you so that you can move forward. If you look at someone else's success and start to compare, you will be frustrated. You will not be seeing yourself moving forward.
You're listening to this video, you surely have learned many things. But what we can retain today is that as an entrepreneur, you don't have to give up. You have to be resilient. You have to understand that failure may arrive, but the most important thing is how you react, how you stand after every failure. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you have to define goals. You have to place your vision to your team. As a leader, you have to be a trainer. You must empower your teammates so that they can become future leaders. That is how you can know if you are a successful leader, if you are effective in your leadership. A leader takes risk, but he must have the capacity to measure the risk. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe, share, and see you in the next session.